Gilgaboo, Gilgaboo, Gilgaboo.
Gilgaboo the Jarrow as Falcheroo, gus Gullas Gaccan.
Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Well, be chirum och bardulachs on a good smooth, lesh pert the hyalan gyal jantach. Fos genachtan giachs gia nya nasha as bjorn and yatel, temperelus smooth hawks Celsius. Bardulachs on a good smooth merach lesh fia chitrish sanasta as being fia troben the kitten. Be gia nyaras nyatalon as be fua. Leis yn temperelus share Celsius. En riet, be a fljochas rastak gemurt leis fliana kieten. Hammers gia nyatel Goll. Eri na grenia min a jeg log hawk merach, as lie na grenia keru rush queg dew. Dry but mostly cloudy with some brightness possible at times, still feeling quite breezy in the fresh to strong east or southeast wind. Maximum temperature 8 degrees Celsius. Generally cloudy tomorrow with rain arriving in the afternoon, turning heavy at times. Strong southeast winds and cold with the best temperature 6 degrees Celsius. The outlook wet and windy on Tuesday with periods of rain at times, as well as strong to gale force easterly winds. The sunrise is at 16 minutes past 8 tomorrow, and the sunset 4:45 today.
Manx Glass and Glazing are able to offer an emergency out-of-hours boarding up service. Call 491918. Gullas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
You're such a big star to me. You're everything I wanna be, but you're stuck in a hole, and I want you to get out. I don't know what there is to see, but I know it's time for you to leave. We're all just pushing along, trying to figure it out, out. Oh, your anticipation pulls you down when you can have it all. You can have it all. Oh, so come on, get it on. I don't know what you're waiting for. Your time is coming, don't be late. Hey, so come on, see the light on your face. Let it shine, just let it shine. Let it shine. Stop being so hard on yourself. It's not good for your health. I know that you can change, so clear your head and come round. You only have to open your eyes. You might just get a big surprise, and it may feel good, and you might want to smile, smile, smile. Oh, don't you let your demons pull you down, 'cause you can have it all. You can have it all. So come on, get it on. I don't know what you're waiting for. Your time is coming, don't be late. Hey, so come on, see the
And that was Take That with Shine. Well, someone who was shining yesterday was our guest in the studio, Stephen Miller, Fast Am I.
Fast am I.
And, well, you were given a talk to the Celtic Congress out at the Centenary Centre. It wasn't the it was the, where was it? The Atholl Room in... was it the Atholl
Peel
Room?
Wesleyan
The Guild
Chapel.
Room.
The Guild Room, the
we'll
Peel
get there
Wesleyan
eventually.
Chapel.
It was near the Atholl Room and near the Centenary Centre, the other side of the road, two of them. But yes, you were talking about Manx Charmers. Well, we knew there were lots of charmers in the Isle of Man, but it was a different sort of charming you were talking about.
Indeed, it was a welcome opportunity to repeat a paper that I'd given to the Romanian Academy of Sciences, and I'd like to get my research out to a wider audience, not just to have it there for an academic audience, but to have it to a wider, and so it was very, very good that it was Helen Robinson, who I must praise for this. It was Helen who knew I was visiting the island and sort of raised the idea of giving the talk again. It was Bob Carswell ran with the ball and sort of organised the talk yesterday, and James Franklin from Colchavanon did the techniques as well. But as I say, I wish to thank, you did the usual thing, I wish to thank Emmanuel Timotin from the Romanian Academy of Sciences and Jonathan Roper from the Tartu University in Estonia, who run the seminar, for thanking and asking me to speak in the first place, and Ilona Tuomi for editing the material as well, because the Sophia Morrison collection, which is, I was in part talking about, the Sophia Morrison collection has now been edited in full by me. Although there's more material to add to it, you always come across material, that's always the good thing as well. So that's out, that's not behind a paywall, as a lot of academic research is these days, as you know, so that's available for download. So yeah, it's a long way round to saying it was a really great opportunity to give the talk again, and to give the talk in the Isle of Man as well. You know, you're talking about Manx material in Bucharest in Romania, but you start thinking, well, yes, but we should also be talking about Manx material in Peel in the Isle of Man as well. So it was a very good opportunity.
And it's a really important topic too, because up until fairly recently, as we were discovering after your talk, a number of people I was talking to had the same experiences as I've had, where you know, charming was still happening in living memory. And in fact, that we may still have some folk charmers on the island that do some charms, particularly in things like warts. That seems to be a very popular one.
Warts and styes, the ones that were mentioned to me after the talk, and so it was intriguing to see these continuities that happen. I mean, people. I mean, the collectors such as Sophia Morrison, Carl Roeder, and these others, they saw this fading, disappearing Manx culture and sought to record it, and thank goodness they did. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But so sometimes you can overestimate what is passing, what is disappearing, and in many particular cases, I think the very notion that as soon as people are aware that the customs are going, the calendar customs are changing and so on, then people hold on to them even more, or else they bring them back. You know, we have seen this with Hop Tuné, sort of, and other initiatives in the on. There's that great phrase from Edward Farragher in the 1890s, writing from Craignish to Carl Roeder, talking about the first Manx language revival. Started with the Manx language side, and once again in which Sophia Morrison was involved, and Otti Gaccan. It was remarkable to be giving the talk in the Peel Wesleyan Chapel, which is where Otti Gaccan taught a class in Manx. She taught the Sunday school children at the Peel Wesleyan Chapel Manx. So it was really good to be there. You're back there, almost like the ground zero of the Manx language revival in Peel.
Yeah, yes, and it is a tremendous thing that so much has been recorded. But also during your talk, you were lamenting, as I think many of us would, the loss of many of the notebooks and the collections from that time.
Well, the intriguing thing about that is that they were aware of that at the time. There's a wonderful letter when A.W. Moore is writing to Carl Roeder, when he was hoping to do a second edition of the Folklore of the Isle of Man, his book that came out in 1891, and he saw that Nutt, the London publisher, had printed more copies than he had expected, and that they weren't selling, or rather they'd sold to those who were interested. And so Nutt was not interested in doing a second enlarged revised edition. And so what to do with your material? He says to Rhoda, print is safer than manuscript. In other words, publish as much as you can, because if it lies in manuscript, who knows what can happen to it. And, you know, you can. It's almost a litany of loss that we have. All of Moore's papers have gone. All there is one notebook, a notebook called Manx Odds and Ends. How appropriate, but that's all there is, a notebook called Manx Odds and Ends, and there's some of the proof sheets for the tunes from Manx Ballads and Music. Everything else, just gone. Carl Rhoda went into a sanitarium. He had health issues towards the end of his life, comes out, goes back to the warehouse. They'd lost his material. W.H. Gill had all his material ready, and then he was expecting his daughters to find a home for his materials. That material is lost. Clegg's collection, 6 or 7 tons of materials, because the Reverend John Cooley inherited all of Clegg's personal papers, his library, cleared out Crofton, moved it up to the rectory at Andros when he became the Archdeacon of Man and got the living at Andros. He retires, moves back to Castletown. All of that material just appears to have been lost. All we have from Clegg, the tune books, thank goodness. We have a notebook, which is some of the folklore material that appears in Manx Reminiscences, which you know appears in 1911. And there's a set of notebooks that shows Clegg's interest in Manx. That's it. That's all we have. Morrison's papers, in large part, are also lost as well. So it's you know, there's almost an irony that no, it's not an irony. That the culture that they seek to document their own records of a culture that indeed has now passed, that those records themselves are lost as well.
Well, you mentioned a tune book there. Well, the listener, no doubt, will be ready for a tune or two. So we'll hear a tune from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Sailing on the Seven Sea. Then we'll hear a few adverts, and then we'll hear my current favourite Gaelic band, Chasing Abbey, with A Rish as a Rish.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Galas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. They make pictures of burning skies. They bring hell, it will cost your life. They bring poison and they bring pain. And stories told sound all the same. Durka-dussa, 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 creed. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. When their mercy fall behind, when their badness cross the line, bounded by a primal tide, and somehow still the spirit survives. Durka-dussa, 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 creed. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish when you're full of the love. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Her wish is a wish. Can't work on create my check.
I still think that's the best bit of Chasing Abbey musically. They've done a couple of other songs recently that rival that, but it's pretty special, that. Anyway, we're talking on the programme this week to Stephen Miller, and we were possibly, the pair of us, getting a little carried away about talking about Sophia Morrison and all the things that have been lost. And indeed, Dr. Clegg and Rhoda and all. Maybe it would be helpful if we, to the uninitiated, explained a little bit about who Sophia Morrison was and why was she so important.
There's a wonderful letter from J.J. Neen, another of the stalwarts. We know J.J. Neen for the place names of the Isle of Man, writing to William Cubban, who we know was the first director and secretary of the Manx Museum. This is a wonderful letter here from 1915, where it says, "If we had not Miss Morrison at the wheel, I'm afraid our ship would have foundered long ago. I only hope that she may be long spared to carry on her labour of love." And this is 1915. As we know, Sophia Morrison dies 1917, so she wasn't alive much longer to do that. But that ship was the Manx language revival, and Morrison was indeed its captain. And she played a role too in the wider pan-Celtic movement at the time. But I mean, we've need a whole programme in many ways, and maybe we should have a whole programme to describe what she did. She was a folklorist. She was a folk song collector, along with Josephine Kermode with Cushig, but she also encouraged other people to go out. Cressy Dodd of Peel Peel went out collecting for her. She was also a pioneer of recording with the phonograph. The Manx Language Society bought a phonograph in 1904, very early on in the sound recording throughout Europe as well. You know, the Manx Language Society, they're a pioneer of recording, and they first used it in 1905, and she was also the secretary of the Manx Language Society. I think she very much kept it going. The editor of Mannan, small press magazine, which she edited. She also largely financed, I think, out of her own pocket. She's also the founder of the Peel language class as well, along with Otti Gaccan. And she's also a keen golfer as well. So there's many other things that she did as well. And I think...
And you also referred to Dr. Clegg. And, of course, what many people may not be aware of, but most, or a very significant portion of the Manx music that you hear, the Manx traditional music you hear because Dr. Clegg went round and collected it. So the fact that we've lost a huge amount of Dr. Clegg's collection makes you wonder whether there were books full of songs, all beautifully transcribed, that we know the tunes to, but we don't know the words to.
Well, we also know from Sophia Morrison that Dr. John Clegg's collaborator were the Gill brothers, and there is once again there's a letter where Morrison is writing to W.H. Gill. She's with the Cranes, Elizabeth Crane, and a daughter who's also Elizabeth Crane of Coolbane in Sulby, saying she's visiting them, and she says, "Oh, they've sung everything they have, everything they know for you." So clearly we can see, once again, it's always that thing, you're reading letter after letter after letter to get nothing. It's just general, and then just one line just pops out like that, and you get so much from that line. One, you see Morrison is out collecting. One, there are still singers to be found, but also that Gill is still collecting. As we know, the Gill's brother, the Deemster Gill, he dies 1899. So all that there's no more correspondence. Of course, the correspondence goes. So we don't really see what Gill is up to after that. Clearly, Gill is returning to the island. Clearly, Gill is continuing to collect. Material, which, as I mentioned, is lost. So this is why it's... it's almost, as I said yesterday, there's two histories to be written. There's the history of song collecting, there's the documentation that we have, and then there's a shadow history, which is these one-line references, a reference to a notebook, a reference to a collect. There's a wonderful line too in P.W. Kane writes to Sophia Morrison and says, "Is young Tonkins or Bertie Corlett to see him about tunes?" Straight away, you're thinking, well, P.W. Kane. You start thinking, well, it's okay, who is young Tonkins? Who is Bertie Corlett? What are they collecting? Who are they collecting from? When are they collecting? What's happened to that material?
Well, we'll have another piece of music and come back to this topic very shortly. As Manx as the Manx language. Gilgaboo! Hooray for Manx!
The Nation Station, Manx Radio. Squeeze.
The latest edition of Manx Radio's Breath Mindfulness podcast with Karen Hardman is available now.
Tricky situations can be solved better in a relaxed space with fresh eyes.
Brought to you by the Good Health Store on Station Road in Port Erin.
Imagine arriving at your favourite beach or beauty spot. It's early morning and it's just you, ready to feel good.
The latest in the Breath Mindfulness series with Karen Hardman and available now at manxradio.com.
And that, of course, is our cue for the update on the weather. So be a Chiramach Bajlach on Kudsmu, leis pert the Shallan Gyal Jantach, slickly nak be Shallan Gyal on Nish. Bajlach on Kudsmu, Merach leis Fliachet Rish Sanasta, as be in Flia Troben, the Kieten, as be a Fliochus Rastach Jamert. So mostly cloudy with some brightness possible, but I'm guessing the chances of that are now getting slimmer. Also tomorrow, generally cloudy with rain arriving in the afternoon, turning heavy at times, and then wet and windy on Tuesday. And actually, that jingle is also our cue for the next piece of music, which is the Manx track. And it's Don't Hurt Me Now by the Mollig Band.
Gullas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
Heal me, for I have been misunderstood, and set me free. The lion eyes can't see for blood. Judas kissed me long ago. Through the jaws of fear I go, in everlasting search, for as much as I have not known. Sail away, your bonny boat's out in the bay, but when you're near me, keep watch for the black and the grey. Judas kissed me long ago, through the jaws of fear I go, in everlasting search, for as much as I have not known. So draw your pen and legislate for those you cannot educate for me. And when you sail your ships of stone, see that you're not left alone, out where the oceans touch the skies and the orange seas the garbage lies. For you, in silent grace and solemn vow, to never laugh, never cry out loud. Don't hurt me now. Sail away, fair winds for your bonny boats, but when you're near me, keep watch where the monarch floats.
And that was the Mollig Band with a wonderful piece of music, a beautiful song there, Don't Hurt Me Now, which was composed, I presume it was composed by Greg, I'm fairly sure it was, in relation to the basking sharks. We were talking about collection, and the collection was taking place shortly after this Education Act 1872. I doubt the Education Act was a great boost for the Manx language or indeed Manx folklore and history.
No, I mean, there was no way that there would ever have been any instruction in Manx, and it's unlikely. We know that the generational transmission of Manx ceases in around about the 1850s. You can see that from the 1901 census. You can see that the families where they do have children who speak Manx, you see children who are, well, in the particular sense they speak Manx and English. We know in the 1901 census there are no monolinguals. People are bilingual, and then you can notice that those families, and you see the cutoff. The children are just simply not learning Manx, and there's also too once again one of these sort of intriguing, as I mentioned, with these intriguing one-liners when Carl Roeder is asking Edward Farragher for games as a child, games that he remembers as his child, and Farragher realised that what Roeder wants is material in Manx. And he says, no, he says, I don't know any children's games in Manx because we played the games in English.
Right.
You can see the breakdown there, so you don't get that particular transmission of the language. Then there is what you can also see then is a sense of cultural erosion, because you start to get the Methodist revivals. You can see that there's a very good, when you start to read through the centenary booklets for the very many Methodist chapels that we had. There's a very good one written up in Crotty and you can see the mentions of these revivals. And also too, it's in the Bagaro School logbook of there's one child who refuses to sing songs in school now because it's wrong to do so, because all that you should be singing are hymns. So secular material now is not to be used. And A.W. Moore mentions that as well, when not that he collected for Manx ballads and music, but he had Harry Bridson and others out collecting for them. He says along the particular lines that you'll find more people will know carvels, no people will know primitive Methodist hymns and so on, than are willing to know or willing to sing secular songs. So there is very much a cultural erosion. There's very much a sense of self-censorship going on. So this is why we lose so much folklore. So we get we get that drift in language where Manx is no longer a community language. We get English coming in. You also get to the other issue that we have to be aware of as well, is the population is declining. We've always been a small community. We've always been a very, very small community. And the 19th century, even starting on in the early 19th century, you see emigration to America, you see emigration to Australia. I mean, I still find it fascinating when you read the Isle of Man Examiner, the Peel City Guardian, for the period that I'm interested in. I work very much the 1890s, the 1900s, to looking at these particular figures such as Morrison and Roeder and the Gill brothers and Clegg and the others. You read the newspapers and you see obituaries from the Cleveland Plain Dealer of Manx people who have gone to America. You also see too when a lot of the people, when the mines closed down or when the mines declined at Foxdale and Laxey, people went off to work in the iron range in the I forget the name of the range now. I think it's the Macquarie Iron Range. But anyway, they go off to Michigan. And then they are then putting notices in the papers that someone has got married, that they've had children there as well. So we just go. So I
suppose we were talking about all the things that have been lost in terms of collection. An argument could be put, well, actually, if it was that important to the people, they would have kept it all going themselves anyway. How would you respond to that?
What could one say? I mean, I think these are still the ways that people thought in the past. These are still the ways that people express themselves. In many ways, the ways that people express themselves as Manx people. So you could say that just because there was a generational shift in not speaking Manx, you start to say, well, the language is still of importance because it is still, for us many people, it is and can be a badge of identity. So I think the decisions that people made in the second half of the 19th century. That's merely decisions that they made in the second half of the 19th century. And I don't think it is for us in this particular time for us to make our own decisions as to what we value from the past and what we don't value from the past. I think we can value the language. We probably don't want to value tuberculosis, or we probably don't want to value mumps or anything of that particular nature. And I think it is for us as a community to decide what it is that we wish to use from the past, how much of the past for us is usable in the present, to give us a sense of identity, to give us that anchor for our Celtic souls that T. Brown mentioned.
And of course, despite talking about all the stuff that's been lost, there's quite a lot of stuff that's still there, isn't there?
Indeed. I mean, folklorists always want more. You always want more, because you always hope that when you open up another box that this is going to be another notebook as well. But there is material there. I mean, we were talking just in the break there that it's remarkable when you consider in the 1890s, again, for a community the size that we are a prisoner of our geography. You know, we are what we are. And so we have the collectors who we have, and we have the material that we get. We look at the 1890s. You say, we got Clegg out there. We got the Gill brothers out there. We got A.W. Morris out there. And other people who are helping them as well. Annie Gell collects a song, She Gets the Demon Lover in Manx. She collects that, or that is sent to her. You then move on, then it just doesn't end with those, should we say, those Victorian collectors. You then get them, or many ways they are replaced, or they're followed on then by, we have Sophia Morrison. Carl Roeder is still active in the 1900s. As you've heard, W.H. Gill is active in the 1900s as well, providing this material. You can't find material such as Farragher's notebooks. I mean, they have Farragher there living in Cregneash in the 1890s, corresponding with a German folklorist living in Manchester, filling notebooks full of folklore. I mean, even nations that you know that have in the sense they've institutionalised the collecting of their particular folklore. You have Dublin, you think of the Irish Folklore Commission, Edinburgh, you think of the School of Scottish Studies and so on. If you and I were to go there today and say, can you show us some notebooks from the 1890s, please, written down from an Irish speaker or written down from a Scottish Gaelic speaker, can you show them to me? No, they can't. Come here, yes, we can show them.
Well, we'll have another piece of music now, and this is Madness. It Must Be Love.
I never thought I'd miss you half as much as I do. And I never thought I'd feel this way, the way I feel about you. As soon as I wake up, every night, every day, I know that it's you I need to take the blues away. It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best. How can it be that we can say so much without words? Bless you and bless me. Bless the bees and the birds. I've got to be near you every night, every day. I couldn't be happy any other way. It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best.
every day. I know that it's you I need to take the blues away. It must be love, love, love. 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 It must be love, love, love.
Ah, there we go. That's Madness with It Must Be Love. And we're going to get on to talking about charming. We really are. So what would they have called it, charming? Or what was there a name for this back in the day?
We really have no sort of internal. We have no internal view as to how people thought of them. I mean, that was one of the very perceptive questions that I was asked yesterday after the talk. Is that if someone had written down these charms, and we know that these charms were written down, and that's the way that they were transmitted. The Manx Museum Library does have some magnificent 19th century collections, clearly handwritten. You can tell from the punctuation, the misspelling, the grammar that these are sort of, you know, these are ones, and we know this from Clegg, where Clegg talks about the charms being written down and transmitted. That if someone said, well, if someone would have had that in their prayer book or their Bible and had fallen to the ground, you know, what would you think it would be? You would think that it's a prayer, because most of these charms, and we will come on, as you say, we will indeed have some of these charms. I shall read some of these charms so people can see the language of the charms, because they do call on the saints, they do call on the good Lord, they do call on Christ, they do call, you know, they mention these things. That this is, you know, is this vernacular religion? Is this folk religion? It's hard, but we don't have we don't know what word people would have used to say what they were doing. It's possible, because they say, yes, it's a charm. They don't see any connotation. They don't see anything negative about that. The church courts in this particular period do. But we don't have anyone. As I was saying to you in the break, I mean, if I'm accused of charming, you feel the same things. Well, yes, I've done it. There's no argument. It's not worth me trying to argue to say, well, this is just a prayer, because they say, but it's not a prayer, you know, because it is quite clear that this is a vernacular usage of saints, the names of saints, vernacular usage of biblical authority to say, well, no, this you know, if you are sick, you should just simply pray to God. It's God's providence is what should cure you, and not particularly any resource, even though it might mention the Virgin Mary, it might mention you know, Jesus Christ, it might mention that. No, this doesn't fly.
And this is not unique to the Isle of Man either, is it?
No, this is it's often a surprise. You sometimes want to find material that is somehow specifically Manx, and you realise that no, you look at this material and you sort of see this material cropping up all over Europe. You know, I say I was at a conference in Bucharest when we were looking at charms. People are talking about charms and they're putting them up in Romania, and you start thinking, well, this is one I know from the Isle of Man. You know, this is one, except it's not in Romanian, obviously, but it's in English, or it's in Manx. And I think it shows you the way that this and it's difficult to see how these spread. It's difficult many times to date these. All you can really say is, when are they first collected? When are they first known? How is it that these similar charms, you know, they have a similar structure? How it is that they spread all throughout Europe? That what Sophia Morrison was collecting in the 1900s out there at Dorby is exactly the same as what someone almost in the 1960s was collecting out in a rural parish in Romania. But it is so like that. And I think we can often see the Isle of Man too much in what I called yesterday, you know, a Celtic silo, that you don't realise that if you look to the north here, visible from us here is Scotland. So you have a lowland Scots culture there as well. To the east we obviously have England, and then to the west we have Ireland.
And I suppose we can speculate, and maybe we'll do that after the news. I mean, the one thing that's common across Europe was the early church, and maybe that's something to do with all of this. But anyway, we are almost at the end of the programme. We've got, not the programme, under this first hour, all over the world from Electric Light Orchestra will play us to the news. So, yes, that's the voice.
Gullas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Well, an update on the weather. Where's that button? There it is. Be a Chirim ach Bajlach son could smooth less Perth the had be Perth the Helen Gal Jantach or Nish. Fos Genachton Giach Sagia Nya Nisha as Bioa Nanyatl. Temperature smooth hawk Celsius. Bajlach son could smooth Merach less Fiat Rish Sanasta as being Fiat Trom na Keten. Be Gia Nyaras Nyatalon as be a Fua. leis an temperature sé Celsius. An riat, bí a fluchas rástach te mört leis fian na kieten hammers gia nyan na Gael. Na Grania sé menajeg lokak merak as valai na Grania kera rush queg dew. Dry but mostly cloudy with some brightness possible at times, still feeling quite breezy in the fresh to strong east or southeast wind, maximum temperature 8 degrees Celsius. Generally cloudy tomorrow with rain arriving in the afternoon turning heavy at times, strong southeast winds and cold with the best temperature 6 degrees Celsius. The outlook wet and windy on Tuesday with periods of rain at times as well as strong to gale force easterly winds. Sunrise will be at 16 minutes past 8 tomorrow and sunset was at 4:45 today.
Manx Glass and Glazing are able to offer an emergency out-of-hours boarding up service. Call 491918. Gull's Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
I sit and wait. There's an angel contemplate my fate. And do they know the places where we go when we're gray and old? 'Cause I have been told that salvation lets their wings unfold. So when I'm lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head, and I feel that love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me. When I come to call, she won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. When I'm feeling weak and my pain walks down a one-way street, I look above and I know I'll always be blessed with love. And as the feeling grows, she breathes flesh to my bones. When love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me. When I come to call, she won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. Forsake me. I'm loving angels instead.
Well, Robbie Williams is a bit of a charmer, I suspect. Any angels in these charms that we've been talking about?
There are indeed some, and we've been talking about the last hour. We've been talking about the sense of loss, but I think we have to have a look at what we have. And I think there's a wonderful fragment of a letter here from Sophia Morrison to Carl Roeder when she says, "During this last month, I have collected 6 or 7 notebooks full of charms and herbal remedies."
Wow!
When you look at this, I think it's. I mean, she may well be sort of it may well not have been this last month, but clearly it just shows you how active a collector that Morrison was. That she's not just in many ways maybe just content with 1 or 2 and say, well, that's the box ticked, So we've got some of these. It's remarkable what we've got, and we also have from her as well a sort of a. She writes about how she collected one of these particular charms. She says, "I was amused this past September, seems to be 1903, that the way I was received a charm without weakening its effect to the giver." She says, "Whilst blaeberry picking, I met on South Barrule a family pulling ling for winter firing." So we can see she's out. She's out and about here. And she says, "Manx is the man's Chenginimara, the mother tongue. And so delighted was he to speak at some that I ventured to ask him if he had any charms." Straight away, she's coming across native speakers of Manx. She's able herself to speak Manx and taking the opportunity there. I've got a native speaker of Manx. I've got a Manx speaker. I've got someone who's Manx. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? What are you going to tell me? And yet one said yes and gave me one. But to avoid losing any of its virtue, there's this particular notion that charms can only be passed from gender to gender. So a male charmer can only pass a charm on to another male. A female charmer can only pass another charmer on to another male. Some people say it's the other way around. It goes male to female, female to male. But in this particular case, it was quite clear that he thought that he could not give the charm, he couldn't repeat the charm to Morris because it would lose its efficacy and probably lose its efficacy for him. So he wrote it down, and this is what he wrote down. It's not me saying that, Sophia Morrison's own words here. "As God said unto Moses, as thy river shall be as my river, and thy river as my blood, as my water, and thy blood as my blood. Why won't my blood stop? Also thy blood," and you give the name of the person, "in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost." And so you can see here the drawing here upon figures from the Bible, so you could see how people could see things like, I don't see what's particularly wrong with this. This is
and that charm particularly would be to stop bleeding.
That one is to stop bleeding. I mean, when you look at Morrison's collection, in the ones that we have in manuscript, I say I need to add the ones from the vocabulary of the Anglo-Manx dialect, there's 70 charms. It's a remarkable collection, 70 charms, 17 of which are to stop bleeding.
Yeah.
And of course, this this takes us back to the world of this particular period, the early 1900s, agricultural work, which was heavy, which was hard. The people who were fishing at sea, your chances for cuts, for abrasions, to get, skin abrasions. So when you look at the collection here, we have to stop bleeding. We have to cure lumbago, numbness in the feet, ringworm, scalds, styes, warts. All from not just poor hygiene, but the difficulty of having good hygiene in this particular period, of working without getting a cut, working without getting some particular skin complaint from irritation, of working with straw, with hay, and so on.
Well, we'll hear a lot more after the next few pieces of music. I should have said at the beginning of the programme, if you've got a question for Stephen, please do text in 166177 or studio@manxradio.com. You can also send a message into the WhatsApp too, and we'd be delighted to help with any questions you've got. So 2 pieces of music now, Blockbuster by Sweet and then The Great Genghis Khan by The Who. As Manx as the Manx language. They should have a year for that.
mind. You better not go, you never know what you'll find. You look in his eyes, don't be surprised if you don't know what's going on behind his disguise. Nobody knows where Buster goes. You steal your woman out from under your nose. Does anyone know the way? Do we hear someone say? We just haven't got a clue what to do. Does anyone know the way? There's got to be a way to Blockbuster. The cops are out, they're running about. Don't know if they'll ever be able to block Buster out. He's gotta be caught, he's gotta be taught, 'cause he is more evil than anyone here ever thought. Does anyone know the way? Do we hear someone say? We just haven't got it. Oh. Does anyone know the way? There's got to be a way to Blockbuster. Does anyone know the way? Do we hear someone say? We just haven't got a clue what to do. Does anyone know the way? There's got to be a way to Blockbuster.
Guller's Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
The Great Genghis Khan by The Who. What did you think to that, Stephen?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. This is, I mean, the internet has opened up a whole world of different cultures that we can tune into. We can tune into our own, as we've been doing on this particular program, and we can then also tune into others as well. As we're talking about Planet Garden, which is a wonderful app. So you can scour the earth and find internet-based radio stations and listen to 3-hour Afrobeat sets from the depths of Niger to, as you can see here, to Mongolian death metal, probably broadcast to us from the basements of Rotherham or something. Who knows where it comes from, but it's all out there.
Yeah. Anyway, I forget how far we'd got in a charming exploration of charming.
You had asked me about angels because,
indeed,
as you
yes.
indeed know, there is indeed a charm that mentions the word angels, and this is a lovely one. There is an incredible poetry to very many of these particular charms, and this is one I love. This is for a skull. This is known, again, as I mentioned, this is known throughout Europe. This is known out fire, as it's known as. There were 3 angels came from the north, one to serve fire, and one to serve frost, one to serve our Lord Jesus Christ. Out fire, enter frost, in the name of our Saviour, Christ the Lord. And you keep blowing on the scald when you say this charm, but you don't blow when you say out fire. I think that's lovely.
Yeah. And so many things that you could get charmed off you, couldn't you? I mean, it's probably best we don't describe the charm for cancer.
No, we don't, because that's one where you basically, if you've got cancer, it'll cure you, but if you don't have cancer, it will actually kill you. I'll just tell you, it says here, when I'm well, you make me sick. When I'm sick, you make me well. So so it's you're very much literally taking your life in your own hands. I don't think we should tell people what you should be drinking in order to try and cure cancer.
It's certainly not something we would recommend.
I'm not recommending. I'm not quite sure if our personal indemnity policies actually cover any of this. But it does show you the wide range of conditions we were just talking about. That these charms were. People would use these charms. The birthmarks, bleeding, cancer, St. Anthony's fire, lumbago, numbness in the feet, ringworms, skulls, styes and warts. But also, that those are sort of common complaints. Those are medical complaints. But also we have to remember too is that animals were charmed as well. That the people would use charms on sick animals. But also again with Morrison as well, we have charms for divination and foretelling as well. So you want to foretell one's future husband, there's 4 charms for that. And if you want to see one's sweetheart, there's a charm for that as well. So it shows you how Catholic, to use that phrase, that Morrison was in her collecting. That she had I think she had a very broad knowledge, a very broad understanding of what charms were, where they were employed, and knew to ask for them.
And you mentioned the word Catholic there. Is that, do you think, where the anxiety of the Anglican Church and the Methodist Church came from in relation to charms? Because it does sound as though they were probably spread by the Catholic Church, the very early Catholic Church, and maybe that was the thinking amongst the ministers and reverends in the Anglican Church.
Again, that's an interesting point that they're seen as many. When you look at these early accounts, you look at Antiquarius Vulgaris, which was published in 1725, where the author Henry Bourne there is so keen to point everything down there as being popish superstitions. This is we had the Reformation, and yet these beliefs are still out there. That's a very good point. But I think in many cases this is just I think we can see through the charms here, through the, as I say, the calling upon angels, calling upon saints. We can see here a popular response to religion. And I think once again it's a question that this is an unofficial, this is a community mediated response, and that this is simply not coming from the clergy. And as I say, there is a great phrase when Bishop Wilson describes the Manx as being weak and unstable Christians. And I think that's the idea. This was a wonderful case. This is when someone was actually going out to Charles Ballawhaine, to a fairy doctor. And he basically said quite simply, you should really be trusting in God's providence and not going to these particular charmers. So I think it's many ways, I think whether they are seen as either being, should we say, to use the terminology of the period, as sort of popish remnants or superstitions or something, I think at the end of the day, it really is just simply a challenge to authority.
Well, we'll hear now from the Carpenters, who are going to sing about rainy days and Mondays, both of which we're getting rather familiar with. As Manx as the Manx language. They should have a year for that.
A nation station, Manx Radio.
Talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I'd like to quit. Nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. What I've got they used to call the blues. Nothing is really wrong. Feeling like I don't belong. Walking around some kind of lonely clown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. Funny, but it seems I always wind up here with you. Nice to know somebody loves me. Funny, but it seems that it's the only thing to do. Run and find the one who loves me. What I feel is come and gone before. No need to talk it out. We know what it's all about. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. Funny, but it seems that it's the only thing to do. Run and find the one who loves me. What I feel is come and gone before. No need to talk it out. We know what it's all about. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days, Mondays always get me down.
And that was the Carpenters. I think it's probably time for... where is it? This fella. And that is our cue for the Manx track and the weather. Well, the weather is much the same as it was before. be a chirum sa tajak merach as fluch as fluch as rastach jamert. So dry to start tomorrow and then wet and windy on Tuesday. The Manx track that we're going to go with this time is Miller RBV's March by Barul.
Galla's Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
A gentle jig about the kitchen table there from Barul with Miller RBV's March. And yes, Graham has texted in a gentle jig to that Manx track, which is nice. And Graham also asks, what is charm and angel in Gilg? And of course, the word for charm is Pishagyn, not to be confused with Pishyn. Pishyn is a kitten, but Pishagyn is a spell. And Pishagyn is a charm, incantation, or spell. And then, what was the other one? Angel is Einl. Einl, an Einl. Einl Niao, a heavenly angel. And then also we've had a text in, WhatsApp message in anyway. Postpartum bleeding would have been a serious issue for the health and even the life of some women before the advent of modern medication. So a charm to prevent or stop bleeding could well have been sought in those circumstances, which would be the case, I suppose. Absolutely.
I mean, I was stressing there the agricultural work and the work at sea as well, and this is the great, that's why I enjoy doing talks such as this, because I just get a new line of inquiry and someone can come in and say, yeah, that's something you didn't cover. I don't claim to have all the answers. I know many of the questions, but I don't have all of the answers. And so it's a very, very useful to be reminded as well of the domestic as well. And this is, well, of course, why women would be particularly called upon to do this particular charm in that particular circumstance.
Yeah. Yes, well, the presentments, we haven't really talked too much about that, have we? But there were some repeat offenders, it's fair to say.
Many cases. I mean, we have to remind that when Bishop Wilson turns up, that the early 18th century, the church courts acquire, although they are requested by Bishop Wilson to sort of acquire a new, to once again enforce church discipline. I mean, the church courts existed in the island. There were monthly meetings, always called the chapter quest. And largely the great concern was to prove wills, was to deal with the issues of illegitimate children, to do with sort of financial support for children born out of what was then called wedlock and so on. And Bishop Wilson really wanted to impose church discipline when the church courts had that purview over people's sort of, basically over people's sexual morality, and in many particular cases here when we're looking at charming, over people, should we say, people's spiritual mortality, people's spiritual morality as well. And so you do get caught up in the presentments. These are the what's called the chapter quest. As I say, they meet every month and they then formally write up their sort of people who are presented. And 3 times a year, the vicar generals or the episcopal registrars come round on circuit and go all around the island, and then they decide what to do with people. And we have one here, for instance. This is from Santon, 2nd of September, 1722. John Moore, one of the wardens, this case is one of the church wardens here, presents Thomas Creer for seeking a charm of Daniel Neal to staunch the blood of a horse. And Daniel Neal has faithfully promised not to use charms for the future, being heartily sorry for his sin and the offence that he has given. But poor Thomas Creer is to appear at the next consistory court. So he doesn't get away with it. He is going to face Bishop Wilson and answer for it, although often when you try and follow these cases forward, you see that they just disappear. And I think it's a question that a quiet word is had with these particular individuals, and then it doesn't. But once again, we fortunately do have Daniel Neal's charm. So if you want to know the bleeding of a horse, as I mentioned, these charms were not just used for sort of individuals, they were also used for animals as well. And once again, this is, the poetry of this is absolutely lovely. 3 Marys went to Rome, the spirits of the church stiles and the spirits of the brews, Peter and Paul, and Mary of them said stand, and Mary of them said walk. The other Mary said, may this blood stop as the blood stopped which came out of the wounds of Christ, me to say it, and the Son of Mary to fulfill it. And we say we're just talking about it, many people would start saying, what's the problem with this? I'm not calling upon some sort of pagan deities. This is surely this is okay. Surely this is okay. But it's not okay. It was not in the eyes of the church court seeing this one. And so we get numerous presentments here. I'm reading one here from Michael. This is from 1714. We get Margaret Cowan presented by Gilbert Clark for making charms for a lad in Kirk Andrus that was crazed. And she was presented for the same fact before and gave in bonds never to use charms any more. And those adds here, the vicar is to make inquiry when this woman recovers, being now sick. So you can start saying, well, perhaps we should go along the lines here of, physician, heal thyself. But once again, you can see here, what I find interesting in many of these cases, is that Margaret Cowan here is in Michael, and yet she's actually going to Andrus. And so you wonder, if that is a particular notion that the further a charmer has to come from, the greater the charm is more effective because it comes from a particular distance or not. I don't know. Again, Santon, once again, here was 1714 early when Robert Curfew, one of the chapter quests, presents himself for getting a charm for a sick cow. So he has been rumbled. So he there is a member of the chapter quest for Santon, meant to enforce this spiritual discipline, and he himself falls foul of it, or before someone else points the finger at him, he points the finger at himself. And once again, he has solemnly promised reformation. This is the way you get out of it. Once you're caught, I think once again, we are a very small community in this particular case. 1726 as the census of the island, just over 14,426 people were enumerated. You can't have social discord. You can't have constant finger pointing. You can't really crack down on people. So perhaps it's questions to ask is, how do these few people then come up? And I think it's a question that the bishop has to be kept. You have to be shown that you are doing something to keep the bishop the bishop happy. So I think these people then particularly get caught up as well. 1714.
Well, we'll probably have to leave it there, sadly, because as you know, I'm heading off to there's a Manx bilingual service at Ballabeg Methodist Chapel at 6:30. I'm going to give you a lift home as well. Bobby Bob has arrived in the Studio One, which is always an encouraging sign. So we have a few bits and pieces here. We've got some music from Suede, Sweet Kid. Then Hayley O'Meara is going to tell us about the Christmas jumpers that she made and the great effort she did to raise funds for Munjavega. Then we'll have Fleetwood Mac, Say You Love Me, and then Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years. And Still Crazy After all these years probably doesn't apply to Stephen Miller, but still very, very interesting after all these years, certainly. And I hope you'll come back again on a future show.
Once again, thanks for the invitation to speak, and once again I wish to thank Bob, who I can see through the window in the other studio there. Once again I wish to thank Bob for organising yesterday and for inviting me to speak again when I'm next in the island in April. So look out for that.
Marvellous.
We gotta make the most of it, or I surrender to all I face. And if my body belongs to the worms, oh well, my blood still belongs in your veins. All the ways that you're changing, all the things that we take, all that faith that you're
Well, Mish Haley, O'Meara, Tommy Gofracek of Bunskull.
As well as working at the Bunskull, you also do some, what would we call, I'm trying to think of the right word, you're in the fashion business.
Well, apparently so, yes, apparently so. It's something that I wouldn't call me naturally artistic, but I just felt there was a niche in the market for some Christmas jumper designs, and I just went with it a few years ago, and they've been fairly popular.
And these are not just any old Christmas jumper designs. These are special Manx language Christmas jumper designs, aren't they?
Well, yes, and that was it was when my children were sort of very young, 1, 2, and people started giving them the normal Christmas jumpers, and I was just thinking, well, I don't want them to have English, all over their bodies. Why isn't there something in Manx? So the first year I did it, I actually did it with like clothes paints and things, and they lasted the year, but they weren't very successful, but the children enjoyed them. And then the next year I thought, well, if I just try and draw it out, and I'll see if I can get it printed properly. And well, I did that for my children. I had one as well, and then the amount of people asked me saying, well, can I have one of them, or if you do them again, will you get me one? So that's how it started, really.
Well, my Nollac Gennell jumper is into its second, it's seen its second Christmas, so and lasting well so far. Not too many Christmas pudding stains on it as yet. But one of the reasons you do this is obviously to promote the Manx language, but another reason is actually you raise a bit of money.
Yeah, I mean, I decided I'd just add a couple of pound onto the cost of making it, and then it gets donated to Munjavega, a place that's been, I originally worked for them at the Bunskull, used to be run under Munjavega, but it was when my children were at Munjavega nurseries, and they had such a lovely experience there that I wanted to give something back. And
you have been so inspired by the success of this, and the fact that we're into Blaine the Gilga, Year of the Manx Language, that you're going to branch out, and it's not just going to be Nollac stuff.
Well, as Adrian Kane has said for years, Manx is not just for Christmas. So I thought, well, yeah, he said it, I'm going to have to provide something, aren't I? So I've only got one design so far, but I'll have to get my pencil out and start drawing some ideas up for this year, really.
And of course, we not only is this year Blaine the Gilga, but it's also election year. So maybe you could put some handy little election slogans in Manx on the jumpers.
Well, I'll have a think about it. I'm not entirely sure that I should go down the political route, really. No, I don't know it'd be so safe.
Galas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
I met my old lover on the street last night. She seemed so glad to see me, I just smiled. And we talked about some old times, and we drank ourselves some beers. Still crazy after all these years. Oh, still crazy after all these years. I'm not the kind of man who tends to socialize. I seem to lean on old familiar ways, and I ain't no fool for love songs that whisper in my ears. Still crazy after all these years. Oh, still crazy after all these years. 4 in the morning, crapped out, yawning, longing my life away. I never worry, why should I? It's all gonna fade. Now I sit by my window and I watch the cars. I fear I'll do some damage one fine day, but I would not be convicted by jury of my peers. Still crazy